Welcome everyone to this second Italian episode of the Caravan Tour of Terror, a show that finds us touring the globe through the medium of horrific, chilling and disturbing entertainment. My name's Donald and I'm the driver on this quest. Joining me at my side, as always, with a road atlas on his lap and a huge tumbler of scotch to quench his thirst is my navigator Ali. Say hello, Ali.
Buongiorno, Donaldo.
Lovely. We're at Seven Hills Camping, just outside Rome this time round, and we're continuing our journey into classic Italian horror cinema. This week it's Dario Argento's turn with his film Tenebrae, set in a version of Rome that's much less pleasant than the one we're currently enjoying. Ali, please do us the honour of introducing Tenebrae.
So I'm going to call it Tenebrae.
Tenebrae?
Tenebrae.
I'm sticking with Tenebrae.
Because I did look up the word, and it's like a Catholic Easter ceremony.
I'm sticking with Tenebrae.
I'm sure you are. Tenebrae tells the story of Peter Neal, an American writer who gets involved in a series of murders around Rome as he is there for a kind of a book tour.
Yeah.
And that's the essential plot. Him helping the police in these murders, you know, because the murders are taking place in a fashion that matches one of his books, Tenebrae.
Tenebrae.
Weird how it all comes round. Tenebrae.
Yeah, I think the first murder, the killer rips out pages of his book and stuffs them into the woman's mouth, right? So, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. While holding a knife in her, like, jaw.
A straight
it's
razor.
really horrible.
Yeah, it's unpleasant. So obviously the police are like, he's in town. Maybe we should go talk to him.
He's in town. So yeah, the movie just starts off with him arriving in Rome.
Well, it starts with a murder first. You get...
Well, actually, it starts with a shot of someone throwing the brand newest book you could ever see, like, straight out the cardboard box in the bookshop into a fire. I just couldn't help but look at it and go, that book is so
You're such
new.
a nitpicker from the very beginning.
No, like it makes sense. It was more just the sense of waste for me. It was because it's not like it's a new book.
Yeah.
It makes sense that it wouldn't be, you know, used over years and scrolled in. It was just the fact that I was like, that book looks
You're so weird. I never thought that at all. You're a maniac.
And that plays over the credits. No, it's not. It's just a thing that went through my head that I was just like, it's just like they've probably got a copy that they're going to use for the murders, but that one's just so like they bought one to burn.
First thing I thought was I recognized this musical theme and it drove me absolutely insane trying to remember where it sounded like something like maybe Daft Punk had sampled or LCD Sound System sampled. It's actually Justice in their song Phantom. It's a really good tune, and it meant that because I liked that tune when it came out. I don't even listen to a lot of that kind of music, but anyway, like I dig the theme of this movie because I didn't even realize it was a sample. So yeah. Just as an aside, it's by a band called Goblin, Italian prog rock group apparently, and they did a lot of themes for Argento's stuff.
I have heard
rocking theme.
before.
I've not heard of Goblin before. Yeah, no way. But this theme is rocking. I wish we could play a snippet now, but we're too fucking terrified.
Yeah, that we'll get sued by Goblin. I'm gonna put in like subliminally little bits throughout the thing.
All right, okay, rewind that, okay. First thing I noticed was when Peter Neal's at the airport, he gets called to the desk, and then he goes to the desk, he pushes past people that are waiting, and he says, I'm Peter Neal, and she's like, oh, go to that desk over there. He looks around, he literally looks to his left, right into a woman's eyes, drops his leather suitcase, and just walks off to the other desk for absolutely no fucking reason. Little does he know that the bag gets fucked with later. Obviously, because it does. I don't... Straight off the bat, a total wanker.
Yeah, straight off... Yeah, I did think that. He just puts down his bag.
No, he drops his bag, basically.
Yeah,
Doesn't care
and
about
just
it
goes,
at all.
I'm going over here now. And I was like, that's... I was pretty sure even then you didn't do that in an airport.
Oh, God.
But then he gets to his house, hotel,
I'm sure. Right?
Well, wherever it is, the police have just let themselves in.
Yeah.
And have been waiting. They actually, as he shows up, they go, "Oh, handy that. We were just about to leave. You would have never known we were here."
I think they were casing the joint a bit. Yeah. That's fine.
Well, one was reclining.
Okay, they're enjoying themselves.
We're not paying for this bar tab.
There's a lovely scene. So, I mean, it's not spoilers to say murders happen, is it? So there's a lovely scene. There's a lovely scene where this girl is looking at Tenebrae. She's got 2 copies of Tenebrae in her hand in a shop. And I was like, what's she doing? And then she drops the one behind the one she's reading into her bag. Classic move. Goes to leave. And then the store detective grabs her. And then he takes her through to his back office and he looks in a paper ledger and says, yes, you've got an extensive history of criminal activity or whatever. And just
his big book of criminals.
An ink-written journal. I don't understand what that was.
Yeah, it's his it's the big book of criminals in Rome.
He's handwritten.
Do you not know about this?
Or something.
No, they all have one.
Right, okay, that's clearly handwritten.
They phone round every time there's a new criminal or an old criminal who gets a crime added to their list. Or it's like once a week they put out like an update and everyone writes it down.
Over the phone. Yeah. They phone them up and they write it down.
It's the stupidest way to look like.
So obviously she says he's going to throw the absolute book at her. And then she says, well, you know, we could come to some other arrangement. You could just come round to my house and have sex with me. I live here. And then she's like, you're not gay, are you? And he looks at her and goes, all right, wait, yeah, okay. Where do you live? Right, okay, see you later.
Oh, no. Oh, darn, she called me gay. I need to let her go.
That's the same woman who, on her way home, a presumably homeless guy, he's that stereotypical homeless look about him in these films, grabs her through a fence and chases her. Yeah, grabs her through a fence and tries to just randomly chase her home. Yeah, so,
literally that noise.
like he's a goblin or an ogre or something.
No, don't say goblin. We'll get sued.
No.
So yeah, she gets spooked by this guy who's clearly just out spooking people.
As you do.
And then she is the first victim where she gets paper shoved in her mouth.
Oh, is that her? Right, okay. I think I'm conflating the book reading at the start with the book ripping there. I apologize. Yes, you're quite correct. I've watched this movie twice, you know. Still getting that wrong.
Yeah, so and at this point it cuts pretty starkly to just a scene of these young, handsome men hanging out on a beach with this young, beautiful woman.
Oh, yeah.
And she's flirting with them, and then...
She's doing more than flirting with them, Alistair. She's setting up some kind of group sex activity, I think you'll find.
Well, I don't believe she is, because I think she's just flirting, because one man takes umbrage to this.
Well,
and
yes, but...
slaps her in the face.
Yeah.
He is then... How would you put it, Donald?
Orally raped by a shoe.
Her shoe?
Yeah.
Not just any shoe.
Yeah, not just a passing shoe.
While still on her foot.
Her
red high heel.
Yeah. Which, I mean... I don't know where the moral stance on that is. He ran up and slapped her for no reason that we're aware of.
Yeah. Well, she was. I believe he took umbrage with her flirting and not following through.
Or maybe he felt that she was flirting with the wrong person, inverted commas. Because it should have been with him. I don't know.
It was with all. That's what I took. It was don't be just a flirt, slap.
I took it as,
dude, you're ruining a good thing for
us. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that scene, that is, you come back to...
On a beach, by the way, bright, like...
Yeah, so it's separate to the action that's actually happening. It's got different music and stuff. It's shot in a different way. And you come back to that 3 times in the film, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Let's move on to the important stuff. What's with John Saxon's hat? Okay, you know John Saxon, he's the guy you recognize, because I recognize him too. He's that guy that's in other things. He gets this hat at the start of the movie, and he's like, he talks about it, he's like, look at my hat. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Then later on, he like, a cleaner nearly, there's a cleaner nearby, and he's like, whoa, not the hat.
Whoa. Yeah,
really
he gets annoyed with the cleaner.
really
Like,
weird.
he leaves the hat in random places, then gets pissed off when he almost
I
loses
don't know
it.
what the metaphor is about the hat, okay, but it's
I
entirely
don't know. I feel
too
it's,
present.
I feel it's just. I feel it's a very just comedy kind of addition.
It's not
to this.
funny. It's just he just really likes his hat. It's a nice hat. But
No,
he
but I
really-
think that's what it's meant to be. I think
re-
it's a wee bit. Like, it's meant to be a wee bit of comedy thrown into this.
Okay, I didn't laugh.
That's-
I was just like, he fucking loves that hat a lot.
He does love that hat. Were you like he's going to be the killer because he loves his hats?
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
We're also introduced to Peter, the weirdest relationship in this movie, which is Peter Neal's friendship with a journalist, a gay journalist who he meets for lunch, and they sit down, and she start, and he's like, "Oh, how are you?" And "Oh, it's been so long, and I can't believe it." And then she just launches into like,
wait.
"Your books are completely sexist." And if you'll notice these things, and he's like, "No, my books are not sexist because I'm not a racist." And I was like, "Wait, what, Peter?" And then his agent steps in, and he's like, "No,
John
if you
Saxon.
want to set up some time for an interview, we can do this interview." And she's like, "Okay, we'll do an interview." And then they immediately just go, "Lunch then?"
Yeah.
And they just start talking
Yeah.
because they're old friends.
It is some kind of book thing they're at, I'm sure. But yeah, she says Tenebrae is a sexist novel. Why do you despise women so much? As her opener.
But it's the contrast between the
Yeah.
interview
She's an old
between
family
them and the
friend. And a meddlesome
weird.
feminist. Peter Neal's troublesome. I mean, later on, so the hotel manager has a daughter that he somehow corrals into working in the hotel, and like she goes to Peter Neal's place and fixes underneath the sink, and it's weirdly flirty. I mean, he's got 40 years on her, and then like his Peter Neal's assistant is there, and she's talking to him about the girl, and he's like, "That's jailbait, my dear." And I was like, oh, that phrase has rightfully so left common parlance.
It's so weird that it got away with it being what it is.
hey, there's a lot of
so
shit. A
long.
lot of shit happened that should have been picked up on. But yeah, blast from the past. That phrase.
Yeah. Yay. It is basically split into two sections of Peter Neal promoting his new book and Peter Neal helping the cops solve these murders.
Yeah. Like the murderer starts sending envelopes to Peter Neal, and they might have like pictures of a victim or something like that, and so that's how he kind of. I don't know if that's the only reason he kind of keeps getting interested in trying to help them, but he's also, there's a weird rivalry between him and the detective that's kind of hinted at, because like Peter Neal's talking about how I shouldn't be involved. They'd think I'm just some meddlesome writer, or what do I know? But then again, if I solved the case, wouldn't that be something? And the detective is like, detective reads Peter Neal's books, and
the detective's like a fan.
yeah, he reads his books, and at one point he says, "Oh, I guessed the killer on page 30," and it's this weird kind of thing where they're kind of getting involved in each other's stuff, and kind of
it's kind of a rivalry friendship.
who's smarter?
Kind of
Yeah,
forming.
it's very subtle.
because as he's got, the detective has a great admiration for the Peter, because he's like, up until that point he's saying, "Oh, I've never managed, I'm a detective and I pride myself in my work, and I've never managed to guess the killer."
Yeah.
And it's only on the newest book
Yeah.
where he goes like, "Oh, it was on page 30,
Yeah.
I managed to," and he's so proud of it.
Yeah.
And like Peter's like, "I'm only a writer, but these guys actually do the work." But both are kind of like, I can do the other better than the other.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's- and it's a good kind of relationship that gets built up. Better than Bill Burr and his hat, anyway. And also Bill Murray's relationship with drink, because he's offered a drink and he said, "Oh, I'd offer you a drink, but you don't drink on duty, right?" And he goes, "I only drink on duty." And it's like, all right.
And they serve scotch, and I say scotch because of the place where it is, okay? And I know they'd call it scotch in huge tumblers. It's just fucking huge. Pint glasses of whiskey going on here.
As a person that absolutely loathes scotch, oh my god, I felt sick watching them.
Now, when you talk about you liking it, you should say whiskey for sure. Just because
I mean, you started it with a barrel of scotch in my lap, so I'm sticking with it. There is one thing I want to say before we delve into spoiler warning, is that Gianni, Peter Neal's assistant while in Rome, is British. And it is hilarious. Because his name is Gianni and he lives in Rome and he has the thickest British accent I've ever heard in my life. And obviously for people who haven't seen this movie and aren't aware, it is like our episode last week, it is a Italian movie where every single person is dubbed. Whether they spoke English or not, every actor is speaking their native tongue on set and then is dubbed over.
Yeah.
And it is just so weird that they got... Who will we get for Gianni, the Italian assistant? The deepest voiced British man you can find. Oh yes, I can't wait to help you. And he's young. And he's
as a character,
young.
he's like really wide-eyed and happy the whole time, but also trying to get his end away and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's what you would expect out of a young, vibrant Italian man in the prime of his life. You would not expect like Downton Abbey to come out of him.
All right, Peter. Oh dear. Right, spoilers.
Peter goes to a book interview on TV.
Yeah.
And the host he sits him down before the interview and starts asking him like very deeper questions than you would expect of a TV interviewer about the book. And he says, "Oh, it's not for the interview. I'm a big fan myself." And well, at the time I thought, that's nice. Like, he does it just a way that's like, he's just like, the questions are not completely out there. They seem questions that would be in line if you were a TV interviewer who actually enjoyed the work of whoever you were interviewing.
Okay, for me, the amount of time he talks about perversion was kind of ringing my suspicion bell.
It did a wee bit for me, but it gets touched upon so much about his books in general that I was just like, so his books are kind of horny. Genuinely, horny. I was like, yeah, shit. No, but outside, transgressive for 1982 Italy.
Yeah.
Horny.
Yeah.
So probably anything outside the missionary in the Catholic Church. Horny. And you've obviously got the lesbian journalist who is saying, she's got a very feminist look at it. That's your books are just completely feminist. He's like, no, I'm trying to push boundaries, and that's why I didn't give it too much credence. Yeah. I was just like, man, his books are popular, and everyone's. The detective is like, the detective was talking about the detective stuff, and I was like, he's just the best writer in the world according to this universe. But that apparently is just too much, and Peter is while trying to solve the murder is like, I'm gonna go fucking spy on this guy. And takes Gianni along.
Just before that, I was going to mention the bisexual, ambiguously sexual female couple at home. What did you think of that shot where you are watching one from outside and then the camera pans round, and then I can't remember the order. You either see the other half of the couple, and then it pans round more, and you see the killer snipping the window blinds thing, or maybe you see
It's the other way around.
Is
Yeah,
it,
you see the window snipping and pans
and
all
then
the
you
way
see
in.
the other,
like,
and then you see the other woman. Yeah, I was like, this is
I found it gratuitous.
okay. Maybe that's a good word for it. I mean, I found it impressive but dull because a lot of the time you're looking at very close up roof tiles. So as much as like
or brickwork,
yeah. As much as
it was too long. They were really happy with the effect and the ability to do it and use too much.
I mean, it was probably as long as it's probably as fast as they could get the crane to move. I mean, you could tell when the crane is moving the camera, because at one point you can tell it kind of loops around and starts going back on itself, if you know what I mean. You can just because the second time I watched
they should have sped that up. They should have sped it up.
Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, I thought, yeah.
It is. It's just too long. It's an impressive shot. I was like, oh, this is pretty okay.
I think I read a bit about it afterwards. I think it's not like it wasn't done before, but it was impressive for the budget they were working with, I think, is really more the thing.
Yeah, I believe this movie was not made for a lot of money. Yeah. And yeah, no, again, impressive but dull.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, we agree on that. I really wasn't sure if we were going to.
Yeah. Can't imagine why we agree on everything, Donald. So Peter and Gianni. I wish I could just think of it. What, George?
Johnny?
No, I was trying to think of an English name.
Johnny's English, isn't it?
A good English name.
John.
It would be John.
Yeah,
John.
Prince John. King John. Not English enough.
Who? Nah. Peter and Gianni, on a hunch, decide to go to Bertie, the TV journalist's, the TV book reviewer interviewer's house.
He lives nearby. I don't know if there was another piece of evidence other than he was weird and he lives nearby.
Nope. No. They seem to just be like, he seems pervy and liked my books.
Not very many pervy people that like my books.
Not in Italy. So, conveniently, they get there and he's burning all the evidence in his big floor-to-ceiling windowed house in clear view, just burning evidence while going, "I killed them all!" Wait. Gianni sneaks round to see this and manages to see Bertie get his head split by an axe. He doesn't get to see the splitter, just the splittee.
He hears something. He hears a very feminine voice saying like, "I killed them all," or something like that. "I killed them. I did it."
Yeah. Right before the axe chopping.
I think the evidence burning is earlier when the hotel manager's daughter is randomly chased by a Doberman into his garden and has to go into... Is it not? Oh, no.
No, I'm sure they sneak into the thing.
Oh, no, it's all scattered. It's all scattered around the garden after that because she she just randomly bursts in. She just luckily, coincidentally, happens to take refuge in the killer's house and then finds all his an orgy of evidence, as you'd call it.
I think if
the police came around, they'd be like, "This is too incriminating.
Convenient.
Something's happening here." Yeah.
Like, they might as well have selfies at the murder scene kind of stuff. But Gianni doesn't get to see who the actual murderer of Bertie is, and runs back
and
to
Peter
find
Neal was knocked out.
Conveniently on the lawn. Didn't see anything.
Soon as that happened, I was like, right, he's the fucking killer, by the way. As soon as that happened. Yeah. I mean, we're past spoilers, so I can talk completely freely. Yeah. I didn't know exactly I didn't know exactly what had happened. So I didn't guess the whole story or anything like that. But I was just like, there's no fucking way he didn't knock himself out. They don't even like question who did it. They're just like, let's get out of here.
Yeah, wouldn't you?
What?
If you found me.
Well, no, the killer was killed by someone, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
The killer was
There's
killed
a
by
murderer
someone.
here. There's a murder.
Right. There's a whole
So,
there's a whole subplot that I can't really be arsed talking about, which is
basically for between this point and 20 minutes before the end is it was dull to me. Like, I know we're getting into a wee bit of what we thought and review, but like
it lost you.
In the sense that I didn't feel it was too relevant.
It's
like it progress. There are some scenes that progress the story a bit, but generally it is just some more murders. Like, it's a continuation of what we've kind of seen.
There's a whole subplot with Peter Neal's wife, estranged wife. I was actually not entirely sure if they. I mean, Peter Neal has sex with his assistant. His wife, or / maybe estranged wife, is in Rome having sex with Bulmer, John Saxon, with a fancy hat. And for some reason, she's decided to come to Rome, just so the movie can kind of be like, maybe she's got something to do with it. I mean, the voice you hear that's like, I'm the killer, it definitely sounds feminine to me. So then there's all that kind of stuff. There's quite a good scene when Bulmer, John Saxon with the nice hat, is in a square waiting for someone. And then he's kind of just watching the world go by. And the world seems awful. Like, this version of Rome seems awful. There's lots of shit happening.
It's so funny because he's like, watching someone getting arrested, chuckle. Watching a couple fight, chuckle. There's a woman crying over there.
Yeah. It's all horrible, basically. And then someone just walks up and stabs him, basically, and then fucks off. You never get to see who actually did it.
You see the stabbing from first person.
Yeah. So that's quite a nice scene.
There is also the dumbest scene in the whole movie.
Oh my god! I hope this isn't a scene I like.
Where
don't fucking
Peter goes to John's office, and John and Peter have a meeting, and he's like, maybe you should get out of here, and it's row, and he's like, do you know what, like, I might go to Paris or Berlin or something, and then he goes, cool, I'll see you later, Peter, and then the wall opens up and out walks his wife, and it's just a bit much. Like, she's in a secret room and
I'm sure it cuts to a shot of a plane
office
taking off, and you're like, right, he's not on that. I'm sure there's a 2-second shot of a plane taking off to imply he's gone all the way to the airport and left, and you didn't get to see any of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's running. She's running around, right? But her presence leads to my favorite bit. We're just skipping to the end here, basically, because fucking, there's a lot of shit happening in this movie. She's sitting in her, her flat house thing, rental, whatever. And an axe comes through the window and chops her arm right off. And then she stands up and blood's pissing out of it, and she's painting the wall with blood. I actually think that's actually how it was described by someone else, maybe Quentin Tarantino, which I read later. But that is how I would describe it anyway. She's literally pissing blood out of her stump everywhere. I was like, that scene's fucking brilliant. I loved it. Model arm, yeah, clearly. I mean, it's not like perfect, but the style of it, awesome. Loved it.
Oh yeah, it was a full on. I mean,
that was the horror bit. That was the horror bit, because we were talking about this in the last one. If you don't cross the line somewhere, then these are just detective movies. And the other murders weren't really particularly troublesome. No. Like, okay, you might get a throat cut, but I mean, you get that in thrillers. But the gratuitous
CSI.
Yeah, the gratuitous arm chop off, blood spurting everywhere bit with
by a essentially raincoated axe wielder, like through a window out of nowhere. It really
brilliant.
moves into
and then we find out through a series of unfortunate events that, God, I don't even know how to summarize this. I don't know if you want to. Peter Neal.
I'll give it a try.
Right, you give it a try.
What I took from it, and I don't know if this is correct, was that Bertie, the TV interviewer, was the killer originally. Yes. And that Peter Neal found this out, used it against him, murdered him, While he was burning the evidence, he was the axe killer who killed the interviewer. That's who Gianni saw. Shocker! He ran in, killed him, and ran out and lay on the ground.
Yeah, Gianni heard someone say, "I killed them all," and he thought that the killer was saying that to Bertie, but Bertie was actually saying that. Then Bertie gets an axe in his head. Yes. So you're correct. Yes. Continue.
And then Peter Neal was like, do you know what? I'm just going to use these murders.
I want to kill my wife and my agent.
I want to kill my wife and my business and my agent
because
they fucked me over.
Around behind my back.
So I'm going to go kill them. And that would have been enough. But it just descends into... So you find out that the beach scenes where the man is orally raped by a shoe... was a thing that happened in Peter Neal's life when he was younger, and he got revenge by stabbing the woman in a crowded place.
Yes, he really shouldn't. I mean, his big plan for killing Bill Maher, John Saxon with a nice hat was, I'm going to walk up to him in a crowded square and just stab him in broad daylight and run away. Internationally famous author Peter Neal. Yeah.
On book tour.
On TV right now.
and known to be in the city.
I mean, the girl at the start stole his book. It wasn't a bookshop she was in. It was just like a pharmacy or like a grocery store or something, and they had 100 copies of Tenebrae out. So, I mean, he's well known.
Yeah. I do like the moment before Bill Maher gets stabbed, because he does smile at whoever's about to stab him.
So you know it's someone.
Like he's greeting them. Yeah.
So you know, yeah.
But yeah, so you find out that the Peter Neal murdered this woman in revenge and kind of has a woman-hating streak.
Yeah, so the feminist at the start was completely fucking accurate also.
Completely right, yeah. Turns out that you can be sexist and not be racist. Who knows? Who knew? Who knew? Thought you had to be both. But yeah, it's just... He just kind of... loses his mind.
Yeah, he accidentally kills his assistant, who by this point he's slept with. Yeah. And then he thinks it's the woman detective or something. I mean, he talks later about how he's basically loopy now at this point anyway. And then there's a shot where the detectives in the male detective is in this house, and you're looking at the detective. And then he bends down to pick something up or something, and Peter Neal is behind him, and he's almost perfectly silhouetted, so the effect should be that you don't see Peter Neal. But you can definitely see Peter Neal's ear on the left, and I did. So I was like, oh, Peter Neal's standing behind him. And then he bent over, and it was like, brah, and I was like, oh, I really wish I hadn't noticed that wasn't his ear. Fuck's sake.
I didn't notice the ear. Yeah, so it's basically everyone dies but the two detectives.
Yeah.
And then...
Peter Neal cuts his throat.
Yeah.
But then he didn't, because it was a fake
But then he
razor.
Didn't. And so you can't... Yeah, it's basically Peter Neal goes mental. Like, it's just completely unneeded, this him going mental. You could have just done it for revenge and used it. Like, that all makes more sense than an insane person.
The razor blade thing was just an extra twist, obviously. An extra... Why would he have a razor with blunt razor with holes in it and like a blood bag somewhere? So it
squirt. Yeah, so he bends... The male cop comes in, bends down, and picks up the fake razor because Peter Neal's no longer there. They've gone outside. He's come back in. Peter Neal's no longer there. He picks up this fake razor.
Oh, that's where that moment is. Yeah, is that where that moment is?
Gives it a couple of squirts. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Peter Neal was behind him and axe murders him in the head.
Yes.
And then how does this movie end? The detective, the female detective waiting outside, goes to go back in, but the male cop has knocked over a sculpture onto the door.
Ludicrous. Okay.
Peter Neal's waiting. Wait,
hold on. The sculpture is made of razor sharp stainless steel cones, basically.
Yeah.
As most sculpture.
Spike sculpture.
Yes, a huge spiky sculpture. Yes. Continue.
And yeah, it's been knocked against the door. And Peter Neal just waits with a his axe.
Not realizing what could possibly be happening in this situation to him.
No. And he runs forward, she opens the door, and it stabs him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think she forces it open with, the force of the Hulk plus Hercules, because it drives one of the spikes. It knocks one of the spikes off the sculpture and drives it straight through Peter Neal's entire body and into the wall behind him, so he literally is held up by this razor-sharp cone of justice.
Oh, so naughty. Sorry, it's not the female cop, it's Anne. It's the...
Oh, yeah, it's the assistant. Yes,
Because once
yeah.
because once she does that, she stands there and screams.
Oh yeah, she screams the fucking house down. Yeah.
Like for a good minute. As the movie fades out into disco music.
No, the theme, the good theme, sampled by Phantom, sampled by Justice, their song Phantom, I should say. Yeah. So pretty ludicrous.
Thoughts?
Well, let's talk about Okay. So before I give my opinion, Okay. I would to break this up. Okay, so I want to talk about the things that I noticed through this movie. Right. So it's obviously got a big message about the degradation of society. I only really picked up on that when Bulmer was standing in the square, and you get to see all about how society is kind of crumbling in a way. Like everything just seems shit. Everyone's kind of not happy with each other. But then you got the homeless or vagrant men, there's a tense moment earlier when his assistant is just in a garage, and then something there's a sound, a little crash, and then a guy just starts laughing at her and she gets in her car. This place is horrible. It's very aggressive everywhere. And there's also the TV host is talking about society slipping into perversion kind of thing. So there's this whole theme where society is kind of slipping down and becoming a bit shit, right? I picked up on that. The issue I have with this film is it's so full of stuff that I couldn't possibly have picked up on watching it first time. I was smart enough to realize that there was stuff happening, right? But way too dumb to realize what it was trying to tell me. So I looked up a bit after it because I was like, what are the themes of this movie? And then I watched it again to see, right, what are these actually bollocks? So there's one thing I liked that I would never expect anyone to pick up on the first time they were watching it, but it's cool. It is cool. There's a whole thing throughout this movie about duplication. And I think you'd have to, well, I'm too dumb. I'd have to know about it before I went into it. So Peter Neal and his assistant Anne, when they meet the two detectives in that room, they're kind of mirrored, because Peter Neal and the detective they're dressed exactly the same when they meet each other, and Anne and the female detective are kind of dressed the same as well, and the way they move around the room, they're kind of mirroring each other. It's a really weird thing, and I never noticed it the first time. And then their roles in the conversation is the same, because it's the two men talking to each other and the two women are kind of not, but I mean that's kind of might be telling of other things. There's two encounters with the homeless men. There's two killers. So
I'm not racist.
there's two killers even, and then Peter Neal standing behind the detective as well. That is really cool, right? I've got a big issue though, and my big issue is I could never have appreciated that watching this film, and it's just not the funnest movie ever. It's not compared to Don't Torture a Duckling was kind of fun and campy, and it had stuff to say as well. But this one, I found it a wee bit of a slog. It didn't quite have the camp factor, or the
middle drags a bit.
Yeah, it didn't quite have the schlocky factor, and it's kind of I don't want to give it a. If I just looked at it totally on face value, because the thing is, this movie, I looked up after, and these aren't my opinions anymore. And I want to kind of make it clear that the duplication thing wasn't my opinion either, because I don't want to come on here and just pretend like I'm smart. So this movie is...
Oh, don't worry, no one thinks that.
Yeah, exactly. This movie is a summary of Argento's career and his playing with the form and stuff like that. And when the feminist is accusing Peter Neal of being sexist, it's actually because Argento was accused of being sexist, and he was replying it, and then it's weird that it turns out the guy is sexist. So there's all this shit going on. So I think what I would say, my opinion of this movie is, do not fucking watch this as your second giallo movie. You should watch this after you watch all the other ones, all the other Argento ones, because it's like, it's just got too much to say about what it is. It's too kind of, it's not meta, but it's too, its comments and its themes are kind of too much to really, and like just going into it cold and not knowing any of this like I didn't take away from it what I kind of should have. Do you know what I mean? And it's just not.
Yeah, no, totally. For me, it's one of those ones where, like you, I could tell some of the things that were trying to messages he was trying to get through, but I would have preferred he lean further into his themes than his story. I don't feel that the story's good enough to carry the themes, and if you focused a bit more, and I don't know how that looks, especially in an Argento movie, like, but something like Suspiria, where the story's kind of, you're like bits and pieces here and there, and like you've got a basic frame, but everything else is kind of just left up to the themes and what and the acting and the set, like, you know, that kind of stuff is what's pushed forward more in something like Suspiria than it is in something like this, where I just felt that the story was getting in the way of what he actually wanted to put across.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know if you have, but you should go on the wiki of this film and other places to read up on some analysis. This is set in the near future after a post-apocalyptic event has happened. There's been a nuclear bomb. You're frowning at me now. Oh. Yeah, Argento's confirmed this as well. So,
did you get that at all?
No, but that doesn't mean it's not there. That's my point. No, that's why this is. That's why I'm loath to.
No, 100%.
See on IMDb, I've not actually assigned this a star rating because I really don't know what I would do with it, because it just seems impossible for me to rate.
It's a 5 in theory, but in practice that seems unfair.
Well, yeah, because I can tell it's of quality, and I think that's the difference. So and I could tell that I could probably watch it 5 more times and read stuff about it, and I might get a lot out of it. The problem is, I'm just not compelled enough to do that. It doesn't grab me enough to do that. But yeah. Sorry. Apparently, everyone. So calling back to Possession, he deliberately filmed it in kind of that weird kind of brutalist architecture, all concrete and stuff, on purpose, and everyone's tense and kind of. The streets are empty. All this is on purpose because apparently there's been some, I don't think he said it was nuclear war, but he said it was some tumultuous, catastrophic event. And I think maybe it was surmised or something. Somehow it came up, it was a nuclear detonation. And now society's rebuilding after that. It's so weird. Yeah, you're looking at me now like, right, okay.
Right, the one thing I won't agree with out of all that is that the streets are empty.
Well,
every time there's a goddamn murder, people
so there's there's the square. Well, see, this you'd have to go back and all that stuff. Like I said, I watched it twice. It's just, oh god. Anyway, I find this movie impossible. I was looking forward to this actually because I was like, I honestly have no idea what I think of this film, but I'm probably never going to watch it again.
And what's it called?
Tenebrae.
Yeah. Tenebrae.
So I suppose that's my review. I'm never going to watch it again, and I don't know if I liked it or not. Did I enjoy my time watching it? No. So I guess that probably says more than I need to worry about, really.
Yeah.
Fell asleep the first time.
To be fair, you fall asleep.
I was very tired.
You have mild narcolepsy.
I should clarify, I fell asleep the first time, put it right back to before I was feeling sleepy, watched it again, then watched it again. So, yeah. I tried. Good. I tried.
I enjoyed parts of it. I did. I enjoyed parts of it, but
I feel like
started dragging at a point.
I feel like if we'd, I don't know, maybe not, maybe. I feel like if we'd watched this last, if we'd watched all of Argento's other movies, I mean, it's unrealistic, but and then watched this, I don't feel this is the movie you watch to get into these films or his films. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can't. We're never like because you can't recapture the first watch of this film again. We fucked ourselves. We should have watched Suspiria.
Can't put the genie back in. Well, I can blame you.
We should. You were the one that said last time, "Oh no, we'll watch Tenebrae. Suspiria, we'll do a special. We'll watch the old one and the new one." I was like, "Right, okay, we'll watch Tenebrae next time." It's
That's not
in
really,
the public domain
really...
now. Like it's on record.
You could have given me 2 different options.
Listen, the thing is, I try my best to know as little as possible about the films we watch, and I think on this one I fucked myself over a bit.
Your own fucking
yes. Oh well, we'll get loads of hate now because it's a masterpiece and we're ignorant. What can you do?
I'm not saying I'll never watch it again. Maybe after I've watched
I'm not going to watch it again.
giallo movies.
Well, yeah, exactly. You're not
like yeah, but in the sense that like there are I do believe there are movies that you need to watch more than once to get everything out of, and that doesn't always have to be like super arty. It can be any movie, but yeah. So this is all like for me. Very often, it's first takeaways.
Oh, of course, yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I will not apologize for that, Donald. Well, Baldanello Giorgio disagrees with us.
Wait, hold on. I assume all the reviews are going to say this is a masterpiece because I'm pretty sure it's held up as being a masterpiece of the genre.
Nah, that's not how this works.
Oh, nice, great.
Nah. One thing I will say is that most of the reviews that were 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10 were exceedingly long.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by that.
A lot of them just were recapping the plot, and that's not useful.
Right, yeah. Even we realised that.
Yeah, it took us 3 episodes, but yeah. But yeah, Baldanello Giorgio disagrees with us. He gave it 5 stars and said, very good, everything perfect.
Wait, on IMDb? Or on Amazon?
That's none of your business.
Well, it's 5 out of 5 or 5 out of 10, so...
Oh, 5 out of 5. 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5.
Wait.
1 out of 5.
1 out of 5 people say what?
1 out of 5. No, it was a 5 out of 5.
What you did?
I've lost it.
Did you have it?
It's my... shake it off.
Keeping all that in. Carry on. Very good, everything perfect.
Very good, everything perfect.
How did I know that?
This one comes from IMDb. 1 out of 10.
Nice.
6 out of 18 found this helpful.
Wow.
1 in 3. 1 in 3? Can you take this axe out of my head, please? Awful. Yes, it is. Don't argue. This has got to be one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Seriously, even the so-called gore is lame. It might have been more horrific if it wasn't for the diabolical early 80s electro jazz fusion soundtrack, which did nothing but remove any viability there might have been in this movie actually having been suspenseful ambience. That was one sentence.
Oh my god. They hate the theme?
It's just a really bad movie. There's no 2 ways about it. Inferno I enjoyed more, but it is not without its flaws. I think Suspiria is my favourite.
Oh, that's strange. So he likes other Argento movies. Is this the same? Is this the 1 out of 10 guy?
Same. This is all the same review.
He likes Suspiria and enjoys Inferno enough, but this he's actually 1 out of 10ing. Like I would have assumed it was just some guy that happened on this and isn't particularly interested in anything like this fucking movie. How weird.
How weird.
I think the lowest IMDb rating I've ever submitted is a 4. Or maybe, no, it was a 2.
Yeah, but you hate 1s and 10s. Or 1s and 5s. Or like, you hate all or nothing.
It's too arbitrary. 2 out of 10 was 2. What was that shit film we watched from Fright Fest? What was that shit film we watched on Fright Fest? Anderson Falls. Quick review of Anderson Falls. Don't watch Anderson Falls. Not a horror movie. We watched it during Fright Fest. Should have been a horror movie. Wasn't. Was terrible. Visible drone shadows. You're keeping all this in.
That's the only
This is a bonus review.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm trying to look up my... What the fuck did I write about? Did I even write anything about it?
Oh, I'm sure you... Oh, no. Oh, it was very late and we had to run for a taxi. While he's doing this, yes, Glasgow Fright Fest. Anderson Falls should have opened the second day, ended up closing the day because of technical issues, and we stayed. Wish we hadn't, because it meant that it was starting at like midnight or 1 a.m. and finishing at 3 a.m. and it's awful. It was awkward. Remember that guy in front of us that just kept shaking his head and sighing? Everyone was laughing at it. Anyway, huge tangent.
So yeah, that's pretty much your 2 reviews. That's what you're getting. Very good, everything perfect.
And then 1 out of 10 from an Argento fan.
Apparently.
Oh dear. Oh, I've got some trivia.
You do?
I do.
He does.
I'm going to say it now and let's carry this on through all episodes, but I'm not going to say it for every episode. I want to take the trivia section with a grain of salt because honestly, I find it hard to... Okay, so apparently in Germany, the film is still banned after 25 years of release.
Germany's weird about that stuff.
Yeah, true. But trying to Google a source for that just led me in a circle. So I've absolutely no idea if that's actually true or not. And it made me think about all of these things. Christopher Walken was considered for the lead role. That would have been fun. Maybe that would have got us to watch it with a slightly more, I don't know.
You would have been dubbed.
It would have been the weirdest thing in the world. Yeah. How are you going to dub that rhythm? He would have had to do it himself. But then can he do that twice? He might be like, do I say stuff like that?
Is that how I talk? Christopher Walken's never watched himself perform. He has no idea that is how he speaks. He's like, why do people keep doing all these mean impressions of me?
When this movie was released in Britain, they had posters. They had posters for the film, and it was like a black and white arty shot of like a woman kind of on her back, just kind of from the like clavicle up, and she's got cut neck and a tiny thin cut neck, a tiny thin dribble of blood, but they didn't like it. So in the UK, they replaced it with like a red bow. And I much prefer the red bow poster for some reason. I don't know why. I just do. I mean, and the color red kind of ties into the shoes. I don't know. I liked it.
I mean, it's probably just better poster design.
No, but the bow came because they were...
Yeah, but it was the 80s. Like, it was an 80s horror movie. They didn't, like, you've seen
I suppose,
most of the covers for 80s horror movies.
Like,
they didn't put a lot of... It was just like, blah. Like,
well,
this is one where they were like, right, we're forced to do something else.
This is kind of... This was kind of like... It wasn't gratuitous, but yeah, I did quite like the bow poster. And yeah, Dario Argento was very impressed with Possession. And apparently that's what... influence for the kind of like the look of it and stuff, and then you get into the nuclear war stuff, which we're not going to touch on again because I keep saying nuclear war. I should say some kind of catastrophic event. Yeah,
an apocalypse
of sorts.
Is
it an apocalypse
biblical
if it doesn't,
or other?
Is it an apocalypse if it doesn't kill everyone? I genuinely don't know.
I mean, what apocalypse in fiction has killed everyone?
Well, has there been an apocalypse? I don't know.
In fiction, I said.
I don't tend to... I don't know.
Didn't in Walking Dead.
But that's the apocalypse. Right, okay, fine. So it doesn't need to kill everyone. Good. Glad we've covered that. That's staying in. Other films to watch.
On you go.
Well, the obvious thing would be Suspiria, but I've not seen it. So I'm going to say Possession. I'm going to say... CSI. You should go watch Possession and then listen to our episode about Possession. It's what I'm going to say. And you can't fucking stop me. Well, I mean, it influences...
I actually can stop you. I edit this.
Number one, it influenced this film. Number two, I've not seen any other Argento movie. Number 3, if you want to watch a giallo movie you've not watched Don't Torture a Duckling for some reason, watch that instead. But then why are you here?
Yeah.
If you've somehow come to us and you've watched Tenebrae and you've not watched Don't Torture a Duckling, I feel slightly sorry for you, but give Don't Torture a Duckling a try and don't write off giallo.
If you're listening to these episodes in reverse order, boy, you're in for a treatment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Done and dusted.
Done and dusted.
Right.
Where are we going next,
Right.
Donald?
I say done and dusted.
Donald, it's so warm in Rome.
You're going to hate me.
In Roma.
You're going to hate me. So we've watched 2 very inverted commas worthy movies, right? Worthy, yeah.
Okay.
They both had messages. They both had things to say. I feel like a palate cleanser, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
An Italian planet cleanser. We're doing a part 3. I'm sorry.
Oh, Italy.
I'm sorry. I just can't get Cemetery Man out of my head, okay? The Cemetery Man, aka Della Morte Della More, which is Rupert Everett as a caretaker for a graveyard where the dead are rising. It's a comedy horror, 1994, okay? I just want to watch it, so unfortunately you're going to have to watch it too, and then we're going to have to discuss it. That's how these things work. That I promise we're going to leave Italy, and I also promise that there will not be, I'm not going to promise for sure, but the amount of 2 and 3 farters we're going to have is now basically null and void, okay? We're going to race through the rest, I promise. My foot's going to be on the gas.
You know, if we stay any longer in Italy, they're going to get us done.
Unfortunately, we're staying.
Brexit violations.
Unfortunately, we're staying.
After the next one, I've managed
After
to
the next one,
extend
we're
our visas.
hightailing out of here, and I'm going to make harsh, tough decisions about the movies we're watching and the particular countries we're watching in. Austria, 1 film. Germany, 1 film. Yeah, it's all going to be fine. The Netherlands, 1 film. Never going to have another 2-parter, okay? I promise. But after we have this 3-parter, then rocketing, I promise. Please forgive me.
I look forward to our next 2-parter coming up in whatever country we visit next. But for now, we're probably going to be recording this one from the border, so I'm just going to dunk my head into this battle of Scotch. You can start driving. We'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone.
That was just one long, unbroken sentence that just got more depressed. I'm very sorry. Bye. Bye.